All right, today we're gonna go from this to this and make it look cool.
How to fit that with that into that.
You gotta fit these two things together. No, you gotta take this out and put these in this hole and hopefully make it look cool. Uh-oh. Thank God we got new speakers. This thing still works.
Hello?
Still works. Scrap if dropped. Uh-oh. Thank God we got new speakers. Now we just have to figure out how to fit them in here. I guess we'll have to make a cool pod that fits in here and holds the speakers.
Maybe we'll do that today.
Maybe we'll do that today. Hopefully we can figure it out. Okay, now I'm jumping over here to the fab shop and I'm gonna go ahead and start working on these dash grills. I'm attaching my template to the factory piece with some tape, some double-sided tape, and actually a spacer block. And I'm gonna go ahead and router this section off the grill. So we have this little tab and we'll keep you in the loop on this and do some time lapse and go ahead and get these done. All right, so I went ahead and pulled out the speaker down here. Get a light so you can see what's going on. So got this speaker pulled out. This is the factory typical newer generation Ford speaker, 4 ohm, 25 watt. It actually looks a little bit better than most rubber surround polycone. It's all right, I guess. So we have, and we make these. This is a 6.5 inch adapter, and that'll, looks like that'll bolt right in there, mount right in there, no problem. We also make a, this one's kind of used, we'll make some new ones or something for this, but this is a 1 inch thick adapter. So we have a 1/2 inch thick and a 1 inch thick. In the Ford trucks, the 1/2 inch is fine. It's funny that these are made for a Range Rover that we worked on, which is the same exact speaker mount. So this speaker is 3 inches deep. Let's grab a tape measure. Kind of just determine that by doing some measurements there in the shop for the door panel. We're at 2 5/8. It's about, yeah, the lowest point we're about 2 5/8. So I think we can just use this 1/2 inch adapter. This driver should fit in there no problem. You can kind of place it up in there. Yeah. You guys can see we got about 1/4 inch or so. So our 1/2 inch adapter will work perfectly fine. So that's good. We already have that done. So yeah, we can fit the 6.5 in there, no problem. What's cool about these speakers is the cone lights up when you put lights behind it. So we might do something like that, who knows.
Okay, so we've got the adapters, well, the speakers onto the adapters soldered on. Got our quick disconnect Molex plugs.
I wanna wake up with a bird, be welcomed into their home.
And that's it. So now we have our Kevlar 6.5 mounted perfectly into the kick panel. Quick disconnect plug, sealed up, it's perfect.
Been over here and I have all my parts laid out for the enclosure, and I'm about to go warm up the CNC machine and cut this thing out and start putting it together for you guys. Alrighty guys, we got the CNC warmed up. We got our sheet of 3/4 inch MDF on the bed, and we're gonna go ahead and start this program and cut this enclosure out. You guys can see it right there, all the parts. So we'll just press start, and the machine will take over from here.
Half of me is dry and half swimming out to sea, half filled up and half alone. Puzzled, gonna keep myself in one piece, trying out my mind's path. You couldn't be what we want.
All right, guys. So got the enclosure cut out on the CNC machine. And I got all these parts here, some more on that table over there behind you guys. I just have it kind of just sitting here on the table. It's made up of quite a few pieces. You guys can see that this is basically the side profile of the enclosure. It's going to have a step down here in the back of the enclosure. There's a step down here in the back of the enclosure, back toward the back, because we're going to end up putting, there's going to be 2 amplifiers back here, the 310s here, and then we're actually doing a panel here in the front out of double 3/4 inch wood, and that's actually going to have 4 more amplifiers mounted here in the front. So when you open the back of the car, you'll see 4 amplifiers, and the woofers will kind of be behind here, behind the panel, kind of hidden. But so because there's a lot of equipment to fit in here, so we wanted to instead of doing a conventional, you know, 3 woofers firing back and putting all the amps here, kind of wanted to break it up and make it look kind of cool. So now I'm basically going to put it in super fast YouTube mode and try my best to figure out how all this stuff goes together. I designed it on the computer. I've done a lot of other things in between, so I have to do a lot of angle cuts. There's actually some other parts that I'm going to have to cut to finish this, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and work on now. Alright guys, I'm over here messing around with this, trying to get some, I'm actually cutting some straight edge templates to align my vents and stuff on the laser. But let's go see what Nathan is doing over here. Let's see. No music. Alexa, stop. What's Nathan doing? What's Nathan doing? Nathan, what are you doing? He's wiring up the mid bases and the adapters.
Yep.
Soldering, and then what are you going to do right here?
Put a little quick disconnect plug on it.
Like a Molex plug?
Yep.
Awesome. And then we'll put that in the car. And we will install mid base in there. So, and then we got this 12 gauge wire running to the back. I'm gonna go ahead and put a connector on there so it's serviceable. You can pull the driver right out of the kick and unplug it and service it if you ever have to. So cool. So that's what's going on in here. He's just doing that stuff right now, getting those in and waiting on the enclosure. So we'll go put that thing together and then bring it over here and figure out how to mount it. Looks like we got mounting spots, factory mounting spots all over the place, so we'll be able to bolt this enclosure down to the vehicle. So let's go back into the fab shop and get that enclosure put together.
drain out my body's power. You couldn't be what we wanted you to be. The electricity will keep me warm. The electricity will keep me warm. The electricity will keep me warm. 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 The electricity will keep me warm.
To get loud, black Amos can't turn her down. First name Ike, I'ma turn her out. Like MJ's perm, she burn it, pow. She loves to get loud, black Amos can't turn her down. First name Ike, I'ma turn her out. Like MJ's perm, she burn it.
All right, guys, back in the wood shop today. You guys saw we put this enclosure together. Got it all together. Did some 45s here in the corners. I want this to kind of roll in and be kind of cool. So you'll see that come together. Just some ideas in my mind. So now, since we got it all together, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and upholster. I'm going to wrap the face of this enclosure. Actually, I have to still do some filler work and stuff to smooth this out perfectly, and then we'll go ahead and wrap the front of this and all this whole area with some vinyl that we chose for the build. So we're going to go ahead and get that all upholstered. We're also going to carpet with some trunk lining. We're going to carpet this section here and the sides of the enclosure just so it's nice and finished, and then we'll work on sliding it into the vehicle and getting it mounted. So stay tuned for this, and it's going to be a fun day. Alrighty guys, we got the box sanded in the corners. We did some body filler here to make this kind of roll out a little bit better. Added some reliefs, which you'll see what happens when I wrap the enclosure, why we did that. So now we're going to spray this thing with some glue and go ahead and get this face area wrapped in vinyl and the rest of it wrapped in carpet. Got the enclosure sprayed with glue, let it dry for a little bit, got glue on the vinyl, and now it's time to go ahead and wrap the face first in vinyl, and then we're going to wrap the rest of the enclosure in trunk liner. So I'm going to put this in fast mode and go ahead and wrap the enclosure. Alright guys, so got the enclosure completely finished off as far as upholstery on the enclosure goes. Got everything wrapped, the chamber here wrapped, all the rest of the enclosure, the sides, everywhere else is carpeted in a trunk lining. So now, tomorrow, or whenever, I don't know if tomorrow's going to happen, it's probably going to be tonight. Tomorrow or tonight, we are going to basically place all the amplifiers in place here in the truck, which I can actually show you what's going to happen. We have 530 number 1, which is going to sit up here, and then 530 number 2, which is going to sit, oh my god, he's going to sit right here. We got 2 of the 535 channels sitting up here at the top, and then what's next is we're going to work on, so we're going to get all this stuff mounted in here, and then we're going to have 4 amplifiers this size mounted across the back. 1, 2, 3, 4 mounted across the back, and we're going to work on getting all this stuff wired up and get it playing, hopefully. That's the plan. A lot of work to do. It's been a lot of fun. I think the concept is going to be cool. And then after all this is wired up and everything is in, then we'll start working on doing a trim panel over this completely. So this will all be, all the amplifiers and everything will be trimmed out, and all the subs will be trimmed out and everything. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load the 3 10-inch subwoofers into the enclosure before we install this, the amp rack. The amp rack is actually going to be wired up on the table separately. So we'll be able to mount everything straight and nice across. Go ahead and wire everything up, run the wires down each side, and go ahead and hook them up to the processor and power distribution and everything that we'll do. So come along for the ride and check it out. Alright guys, we got the back section put in, got all the wires hooked up to these amplifiers. Nathan's finishing up hooking up the subwoofer wires to these amplifiers, and we also got the subs mounted. So getting the back section together, and then we're going to move to the rear 530s, which are actually running the front stage. This will be running the left side, this will be running the right side of the front stage. And then we got Pro 110 for each subwoofer, so an individual amplifier for each 10. Each 10 is its own vented enclosure. And then we have a 410 4-channel running the center channel and rears. So coming out pretty awesome. Good morning, good afternoon. Alright, so we're back at it again today. Yesterday we were late evening and we were very ambitious, and we were like, oh, we're gonna get everything in and wired up and done, and basically all we would have to do now is build the trim panel. But Nathan and I kind of got a little exhausted and decided to hang it up for the night, and this is where we got last night. You guys saw we wired up the 4 amplifiers for the back rack or the back amp mount. Got all the wiring to that side. We had these 530s up here placed, and we also we did some wiring on those. And then if you come around here, you can see our chaos. I'll grab the camera from Nathan. This is a late night wire party. It's a complete total disaster of wiring back here, but we're going to make sense of all this and make it organized and make it amazing. So the reason why we gave up last night on our initial plan is we were going to go ahead and mount everything and get everything hooked up, but came to the conclusion that we needed to actually cut out the trim panel for the top first, because as you guys can see right over here, from the back of these amplifiers to the seat, there's a certain amount of space. So we're going to go ahead and we have some design work done for the trim panel. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get this trim panel cut out for the top, so we know that the trim panel is going to come out to about this location of the amplifiers, go back and end at the back of the seat. And then once we get that in here, we can actually design and build the rack for behind the chair to hold the power distribution, 2 batteries, a DSP, some passive crossovers for the rear speakers, and a whole bunch of other things. So we got some design work done early this morning, and I cut out a bunch of different pieces of cardboard, as you guys can see. So in the initial design, cut this piece, doesn't really fit too well, and then I put that up there. Pass me that, Nathan. There's no roof on here, so then I came up with this piece, which fits a lot better. As you guys can see, there's going to be an opening. This is like half of it. The other, it would flip over and cover this side, but this piece fits over here. I reduced it in the back so it fits, you know, it lines up, it fits in there. Slopes down, there's an opening going across here for the subs, an opening for those amplifiers, and this is going to allow us. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and cut this out of a full sheet on the CNC machine, then we can get this fitted properly, work on making a panel back here, and then once that's fitted and together, we can actually design and build the amp rack for behind the seat, and then we can go ahead and wire everything up. So we had to take a step back and rethink what we were doing and get some sleep and come back at it, and you know, it's coming together. So let's go ahead and cut this on the CNC, work on getting it. It's obviously not flat here, it's kind of curved, so we're gonna have to figure out how to make that happen and keep moving. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so here is the design of what we're about to cut out on the CNC machine. I got it all the tool paths set. I'm sending it to the machine now. So we're going to go into the fab shop and go ahead and press play and cut this thing out. Okay, in the wood shop, the fab room, whatever we want to call it today. Feels like I was just here 5 minutes ago, which is always fun. So got a sheet of wood. We cut some other things out of this one, so we have room up there in the corner to cut it. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the dust collection, turn on the CNC, and we got the file. I got the file loaded in the machine. It's good. So I'm going to go ahead and first turn on the vacuum table, make sure my material is sunken down to the table and it's not going to move. Got all of our bits in there, and we will go ahead and press start, and yeah, that's it. See what happens. All right, guys. We just cut this out on the CNC machine. This is we made some cardboard templates and came up with a design. Now we just need to go see if this actually fits in the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and take it over there, and then we're going to work on cutting this and bending this to the angle of the actual enclosure, because it comes straight back and then kind of slopes off in the rear. So we have to score this panel to get it to bend over. So we're going to try our best to make that happen. Let's go see if it fits. Didn't even think about that. And it looks like it fits, which is a good thing. So we're one step closer. It does not fit exactly to the panel, but we will get to that, and we'll go ahead and mold this in to fit exactly into the sides of the vehicle. But now what we need to do, if you guys look down here, there's a gap right here. This basically needs to be scored in the rear, so the panel sits down and comes down at the angle of the enclosure. Because this is not perfectly flat, it actually slopes back. So now we're going to have to figure out how to make that work. Thanks for staying tuned. So this is what we got going on here. Got a bunch of stuff done. We cut out the top piece on the CNC. Also the back piece on the CNC. You guys can see this is just roughed in here. Still a lot of work to go. We laser cut our acrylic insert that fits here in the top. It's lightly sanded, and it's actually crazy is this is actually curved right here. So I scored the back of the acrylic on the laser and then set it up in a jig and actually bent the acrylic with some heat. Still got to work on that some more. We got to do some router work on it and a bunch of things like that. So got a lot done on the trim. It still needs obviously a lot of work. It has to fit into the vehicle. You guys can see it doesn't fit into the vehicle quite yet. There's some gaps. This is all taped up temporarily. We'll go ahead and get that molded into the vehicle. The other thing that we have to think about is, once this molds into the vehicle, will it come out of the vehicle? So, and at this point I don't think it will. So I have to think of a creative way to fit this properly and still make it come out of the vehicle so it can be serviceable in the future. So let's go around to this side. This is what we were talking about earlier, is creating a space. We made this wedge piece that's going to mount in here. This is where the two batteries, the DSP and the power distribution, are going to go. So the passenger side will be signal distribution via the digital signal processor from Mosconi, and on this side, the driver's side, we will be hooking all this up, which is about 70 feet of 4 gauge. So we have a lot of power to hook up. A lot of RCAs, a lot of signal, a lot of stuff is actually going to go on back here. And then once it's installed, we can make a trim panel to trim all this out back here so it's nice and finished. So that's what we're working on right now. All right guys, we're going to go ahead and start getting this rear section mounted. We're going to use our Craig. We used Craig jig, do pocket holes around this trim piece. We're going to go ahead and mount this to the back of the enclosure with these 10 screws. I'm going to go ahead and get that mounted, and then go ahead and start working on getting everything mounted in here that needs to go in this back section, so Nathan can go ahead and wire it up. Hey Nathan, can you hold that for me? Thanks,
Sure
Nathan.
thing.
Thank you. Okay, a lot going on. We've been going through this day by day, but doing some stuff behind the scenes here. Kind of see what we got going on here. Underneath all this plastic and tape is the trim panel that we've been talking about. You know, we bent the plexiglass, did a bunch of cool things with this thing. We're kind of in a crunch. We have to get this thing done. So we're gonna do a lot of time lapse from now on. Basically what we have left is I'm Bondo matching the trim panel into the vehicle. You guys can see it's all taped up. There's also some plastic here covering up the amplifiers and all that stuff so I don't get body filler on that. So that's what's going on back here. I'm gonna Bondo match this and work on these side pieces, all bunch of stuff going on. Nathan is up front here putting in all of our Molex connectors on all of our speaker wires across the dash, so left, center, right. Basically everything's wired up already. Trim panel needs to be molded in. I have to work on the dash panel. We're going to work on the dash panel. We're going to mold in the trim panel. We're going to wrap the trim panel. We're going to install speakers. We're going to just crunch time, do a lot of time lapse. I'll try to bounce in and kind of explain what's going on throughout the day and the evening as we get this thing done. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're out here in Phoenix, Arizona. We just flew out here and met the Bronco. It's out here for its first event. So we finished up the project, and I just basically want to go over the project, show you guys what we did real quick, and yeah, we got birds and sunlight, and it's cold out here actually. So let's take a look at what we did. So get in there with the camera. So we did a full on Coaxial Mosconi system. Kevlar 3-ways in the front, center channel, rears. We custom built, you guys saw in the video, we custom built these dash pods for the Kevlar speakers and the Illusion speaker in the center of the dash. We did full sound treatment front to back. So it basically looks very OEM there in the cab of the vehicle. In the back of the vehicle, not so much factory looking. Actually doesn't have any space for anything anymore. It's just a bunch of really awesome audio gear back here. So we got, there's 3,000 watts of power running the front stage and 3,000 watts running these 3 10-inch subwoofers. Custom made trim panel to kind of showcase all this equipment. This vehicle is actually a demo vehicle for Coaxial, so that's why we did a lot of gear back here, and it really does sound amazing. We can't wait to see people's reaction from this. So thanks for watching. Check us out. You know, we normally do more of the Ford stuff as far as trucks. This is kind of something new for us. We might have some parts coming for this vehicle here soon, so stay tuned and check it out.